Oh. Oh, now we just wait. It looks like everything's going. Oh. How are you doing today? I am your Saturday night. This is your Saturday night. And we're having a painting stream. So today I'm your Saturday art night. Oh, welcome. As per usual, we have a nice big old horn full of good drink. Mm. Before I get rolling, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say a couple things. Just so you know. Yes, we've started a little late today. Happens. Things occur. After that, let me just say, we have some wonderful new lovely canvases to work on. I'm going to have a lot of fun painting on this. And I hope you have a lot of fun joining in, watching, getting to see how it goes. I know these are organic experiences. We usually work in abstract, so this painting can go all sorts of different ways. And that's the way I like it. Let's go ahead and let's see what happens, right? We should see what happens. Now, for announcements, keep your ears and your eyes and your fingers open because I will be releasing very soon information about my first audiobook. Yay! I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you are too. Oh, I mean, it's exciting. It's so very exciting. It's exciting for me, and I hope it's exciting for you. But we have the horn, we have the canvas, we have the drive and the passion to create together, to make something together. And we are going to make something together here and now. Or at least once I finish my horn. Mm. And it is good. It is so good. Mm. All I can say is I enjoy every time we get together, and I enjoy getting to create and make and paint and let things flow out as they may. Mm. And they do flow out. Oh my goodness, do they. I'm feeling pretty wonderful today. Hopefully you've had a nice week. If you have anything in your week that you'd like to mention that you think was pretty good, go ahead and share it in the chat. I'm always happy to hear about it, and I'm always happy to, to give a little conversation back. Now, you might be watching this now on Twitch or later on the replay, or perhaps when it's uploaded onto YouTube in the future. So, if you're new, follow and or subscribe. Hi, Silver Fox. How are you doing today? It's a beautiful day. It's good stuff. Yes, painting. Exactly. We're going to get painting. It's going to be a good time. The brushes are out. The paint is out. The canvas is here. What are we painting? We're all going to find out together. That's part of the fun of this. We get to find out together what we're painting today, as these abstract and beautiful works are a product of the moment and the time. At no other point in time could what we paint today be made, and at no other point in time could we appreciate it in the same way. So if you're watching on the replay in the future, please join me for an art night. It's a lot of fun. If you're watching right now, it's a whole lot of fun. Let's create together. You feel like you're on Blue's Clues? Well, you know what? You're not on Blue's Clues, but you are. You are on the Night Night. That sounds funny. There's no way that I can correct that for it to not sound funny. The horn is almost empty, and as soon as the horn is empty, the palette gets picked up. So if you're watching this live right now, feel free to suggest colors, tones, or concepts. One of those nights is with a K, just to clarify. And that'll be it for the horn. With the horn done, the paint now must be begun. I gotta just check to make sure. All right. Palette in hand. It's a cheaper palette, so there's a little bit of stuff that soaked in from last time, but we do our best to clean them in between. That's what we do. We have our canvas here ahead of us, ready and waiting. Ready and waiting, the canvas is here. All right, so one of the first things that I'm going to do, as is usual, is I'm going to start getting some white right on this. I like to get the white on there ahead of time. You know, I want a layer of white that we're going to work into. It's not necessary with acrylic painting, but it gives us an early heavy coverage, which is good and really changes how everything lays down after. Now, if this was an oil painting, you would most certainly need the white on here ahead of time. With the acrylic, as I said, it's less necessary, but if we can get some paint on the canvas before we get rolling with colors, we're going to just have a better coverage of this entire surface area. And more than that, we're going to end up with an overall better piece. Oh, I didn't grab nearly enough white. That's okay. There's a way to correct that. It's called more white. I like to give the canvas as much coverage as I possibly can right to begin with. We're not concerned about technique or beauty or anything other than making sure that when we're done, this canvas is soaked. Like, just covered. I don't want any blank spots. I'm going to have to adjust that on the top in a second. Oh, audio only. Well, you know, yeah, that's okay. Sometimes you got to be on audio only. I'm going to do my best. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do something a little different here. We're going to give a bit of descriptor right now. Hi, I'm your Saturday Night. I'm here wearing chainmail and a natural colored tunic underneath. I have a canvas next to me, and I'm applying white paint as a base. For anyone who's joining audio only, I'll do my best to give the best descriptors I can as we move along so that you can keep up with us. Yeah. Now, because this is abstract, there are certain aspects that will be harder to describe, but we're going to do our best to describe them as clearly and poignantly as we can. Alright, we've got some white on there to start. Now, I can go ahead and I can take a suggestion from the live audience, or I can go ahead and I can just get moving, grab a color, and go. I have not seen the documentary on Bob Ross. Thank you for asking. I definitely at some point in time will watch that. And for those of you watching on the replay or watching on the YouTube upload later, you know, we have a active audience here, and they're making sure that we stay on top of things. And if you're audio only, there is a chat here. So just so you know, there's a couple people in chat. I'm going to be talking directly to them, and I'm going to be painting. It's going to be a good time. Now, if I don't have any suggestions from the audience, I'm going to grab a random color. I'm not going to look. I'm going to grab a random color. I will tell you what it is. We'll get a brush, and we'll start working. I'll give it a couple of seconds. Only a couple. I have to allow at least for the catch-up because I know there is a lag, and then there's the time to type. But red, we have a suggestion of red, so we're going to find a red, and we're going to start getting it on here. The first red I have found is a red Oxide, so we're going to get that on here first. For those of you who can see, this is a liquid for those of you who will be able to see the video, this is a red Oxide that you'll be able to see here in the camera. For those who are listening to the audio, this is a Liquitex Professional Acrylic Red Oxide, or Rouge de Mars. And we're going to start getting some of this on here. And I'll do my best to let you know what brushes I'm using, as well as where things are going and how we're applying them. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to take this fan brush. It is a, it looks like a 3. So this is a number 3 fan brush. Hopefully you can see that just fine on the video. Alright. But I'm going to take a number 3 fan brush, and I'm going to put our red Oxide on here. Red Oxide is kind of in the family of brick. But let's go ahead. We're going to use a fan brush to put it on. As some of you may know, just because I apply a color doesn't mean you're going to be able to see it when I'm done, depending on where we go from here. But let's go ahead. Where will we start? We're going to start in the bottom here. And I'm actually going to use kind of upward diagonal fanning strokes with the fan brush. We're going to get the white that's already on the canvas starting to mix in, and this will give us a an immediate, because that white is still pretty wet, it's going to give us an immediate gradation as well as an immediate mix of our colors. And now I'm using fanning strokes straight up from the bottom of the canvas upward a couple inches, and then just letting things fade off as we go. Now a couple inches up, I'm actually fanning things out again, using maybe up to 2.5-inch strokes upward with the fan brush. Working from the left side to the right side of the painting. And I'm actually going to continue on the left side, and I'm going to work my way up with the fan brush all the way up to the top corner of the painting. And then I'm going to slowly curve around. Now it's very light and it's fanned in. Now at the base it's really dark. And I'm going to actually go ahead and immediately kind of fan in a curve, probably about 4 or more inches from the corner, from the left corner. At the bottom, I'm going to fan in, making a nice steep curve. And then from there, slowly fan upward to the top corner. I'm going to fan down a little bit here too. And then I'm going to work my way across the top with a horizontal stroke. So we actually have a really interesting coverage here. I like that. That's interesting. I'm going to clean off our brush now. I'll give a couple more seconds for a suggestion to be made before I move on to another color. So happy you're here with me today. I like kind of how this has started. We have a feeling of some sort here. It's fun. We have another suggestion of red. Red, okay. So let's find a different red. We do have a couple of reds here. And we're actually just going to grab this straight up apple barrel red. And if you want to be able to see that, so you'll be able to see this right in the camera if you're watching the video. But if you're not, this is an apple barrel red. And I'm actually going to go ahead, if I can. And we're going to take that apple barrel red, and we're going to mix it in slightly with a little bit of white we have left over from the beginning of this. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to mix those in with this large dabbing brush. It's a circular dabbing brush. Very large. I think this is I want to say this is a size 10 or 12. So I'm going to mix this red, this apple barrel red, and this white together. And we're going to get something a little creamier. You'll be able to see here in a moment. And what I'm actually going to do with it is I'm going to start from the top and I'm going to work our way down. So I'm going to start up here in the upper right hand corner. And I'm going to start working in this creamy mixed apple barrel red. I'm just blotting it along. I'm not going for clean here. I'm actually just going for fun. And I'm going to leave speckles at the base here. That's nice. I like that. All right. Then we're going to take this brush here, and I'm going to stroke down slightly on our left-hand side. And I'm going to follow some of this curve here. I'm going to stroke downward on the far edge, getting it mixed in with the red oxide slightly. And I'm actually twisting the brush ever so lightly as I go down. And then I'm going to come back upward with a very kind of dragging motion. And then try to smooth out some of my edging here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this red oxide and I'm just going to dab it along upward. And mix it more with some of this creamy apple barrel red mixed with the white. Dab it upward again. And we're just kind of slapping this to create a texture. That's erratic movements. Alright, so there we go. We got something going on. We're going to get this brush away. Get right rid of it. Clean it off. Alright. So, I'll give a couple more seconds again for some concept of a different color or tone or shade. And if there is no suggestion, I'm going to move right along and grab a different color myself. So I'll give that a couple of seconds, and then I'll also allow this paint to sit for a moment. Oh, I like this. We're starting a little bit different. Every time we come in here, it's an abstract. We're going to start a little bit different, but we're going to have a lot of fun. And that is what we strive for, is fun. Art should be an exercise in fun. It doesn't always have to be so unbelievably serious. I do take art very seriously, and I've been doing it a long time, but I also just enjoy creating art. And I would suggest that if you want to take up art in any way, shape, or form, that you do the same. Just create and have fun. Alright, I don't see any suggestions for a color or tone or shade, so I'm going to grab one at random, and we're going to add it in here, and we're going to see how it works. Thank you for all the emotes. Okay, so what we actually here have now is a yellow flame, and we're going to work with this yellow flame, if you can see that there. Now, yellow flame is a bit pale. They are colored emotes. Okay, well, thank you very much. I will keep that in mind. Alright, so, I found this yellow flame, and we're going to put it on, because I've already cracked it open, and we're going to get it in here. Alright, now that I have the yellow flame here, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to get this plastic palette knife. It's kind of a sharp kind of angle at the end. Looks like a pie server a little bit, but smaller. So we have this yellow flame here. Crack it open, yellow as a mellow. Like the way you think. Alright, so now that we have our palette knife here and this yellow flame, hopefully you can see that right there. Let's see. I'm doing my best. Alright, what we're actually going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and right here I'm going to start working it along with the curve of this thread. We're just going to spread it thin. While we're at it, we're actually going to go ahead We're going to get it in this foreground area in the center. And one of the things you actually want to do, and we're using just a spreading motion, we're not really trying to do anything particular. We're just getting it on here and then using straight and curving movements. We're adding it directly to the foreground. We're going to see what happens. Now sometimes I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this, and that's kind of a back and forth stroking of the palette knife across this. And we're just filling up this background, foreground, midground area that so far hasn't been painted at all. And we're just going to keep doing this until we don't have any yellow flame left. We're not seeking to connect it or necessarily give it any particular direction. And actually, now that I have that on there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of the palette knife for just a moment. And then, what shall we get? We're actually going to get this round end brush here. You can see that. It's a round end brush. I use this for a lot of different yellows. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hold it way up near the top. Get a whole bunch of this. And then we're going to start working downward from the top edge of the red into this mid-ground. So we're going from the top edge of the red on the top of the painting, and we're just working it down in long strokes towards the center of the canvas. And the goal right now is actually to just use up all of the yellow flame, using very light movements. And actually now I'm going to drag a little bit. I'm going to drag some of that red from the top downward into the white area where the yellow flame is being placed. Drag down here as well, and do these curved movements along the base there. All right. So we have something going on here. Hard to say exactly what, but it's interesting nonetheless. I'm going to give a couple of seconds if anyone in the chat wants to go ahead and suggest a different color, tone, or shade. I will do my best to accommodate. If there are no suggestions in the next few seconds, I'm going to grab another random color and we're going to go for it. But I'm liking this. I'm liking how it's going. I'm liking that this is fun. We're just kind of diving in and we're seeing where we end up. Okay, we have a suggestion of magenta. Let's see how well I can accommodate that. All right, I have a bright magenta. So if you can take a look right there, I have a bright magenta here. So this is a bright magenta. This is the only magenta I have. We're going to go ahead and use it. I don't even know if I've opened this yet, so let's find out. Oof, you're in luck, I have. So I don't have to try to open it on camera, which could be a mess. All right, so we have this nice bright magenta. this particular color, we're actually going to grab our 1.5-inch brush, and it's a 1.5-inch flat brush. This is actually what we were using for our white earlier, and we're going to get some magenta on here. Under the circumstances, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to start at the top of where our red ended and overlap some of this yellow. And I'm going to use dragging strokes. Then I'm going to overlay slightly onto where our red began at the bottom edge. So we got something going on here. Then we're actually going to take this and we're going to do it from the top as well. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to use slightly dragging strokes from our top edge here where our red begins. Actually going to go ahead and I'm going to get that out of my way just for a moment. I want to go ahead and get it right up here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get as far down the base as we can. Now the canvas isn't locked in at the moment, but that's okay. Alright, now we're going to lock our canvas back into place as best as we can. So we have a whole lot going on here. Don't necessarily know what is going on, but we have something going on. Take a little bit of this magenta and I'm going to come over here onto this wide red line. And I'm going to try to get some of that work into it. And I'm actually going to use some quick crisscross strokes, which are going to really texturize this somewhat. And I'm going to try to stay right on that red line with these crisscross strokes, that thick red oxide line. And then I'm going to use a sweeping stroke here on the outer edge. Alright. I like that. I don't know if I want to put any more magenta on this at the moment, so we're going to let it sit here for just a bit, and then we're going to consider what our next step may be. I'm having some fun, and I hope you are too. But while I wait, feel free at any point in time if you want to make suggestions or give thoughts of something that we can go ahead and stick on this canvas. And if I don't get any thoughts pretty soon, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to grab another random color, and we're going to go at it. I'm having a good time. I hope you are too. All right. Full disclosure, I thought magenta was a dark purple. I'll give you a fair enough on that. Full disclosure, I'm colorblind and I rely on the labels on my paint. Dark purple. All right, I like it. Right. So we're going to be using this right here. Here's our dark purple. Closer to the family of violet. All right. And for this one, I have so many brushes to choose from, but I would actually like to use this one here. This is a 15 square end. We have this wonderful color here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start dabbing it up here. Now we're going to start coming in from the top right hand corner inward. We're actually going to start to overlap this just a little. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come here and I'm actually going to start dropping it downward. So we're going to use these little kind of blotting and just tapping. We're going to tap along. We're going to tap along on this top corner. We're going to slowly work our way downward. We're actually going to come onto this side a little. Then I'm going to use a few dragging strokes here. I'm just going to drag downward for a moment. Then come back in and do the blotting. Again, blotting strokes. And we're going to do a few drags again. And then blot along. Alright. So we have a whole lot going on here. I actually kind of want to take a little bit of this dark purple and I'm going to go. And I'm going to just do some dragging strokes up toward the bottom and a few little line strokes. That's a whole lot of fun there, isn't it? I don't know what we're making yet, but we're making something. And I'm enjoying it, and I hope you are too. Alright, we still have a bunch of white on here, and we don't have a clear direction as to which way we're moving. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to leave it open to suggestion again. As we could be going in any direction right now. Any possible direction. We don't have anything set in stone, and that's one of the beauties of these kind of free abstract painting moments in our life. We can do so much. And we get to do it right now, right here, together. So, still leaving it open for a suggestion for color. If I don't get a suggestion for color, we're going to move on to a new color that I will choose at random. But I'm enjoying this, and I hope you are too. Be happy with black. Black it is. So we're actually going to be adding a carbon black to this. So we're adding carbon black right now. Under the circumstances, I'm actually going to grab my fan brush again. It's a wonderful little fan brush here. Smaller one. We're getting this again. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get a little bit of black on it, not a whole lot. I'm actually going to wipe a lot of it off. And then I'm going to actually start at the base. And then I'm going to do kind of these crisscross strokes at the base. And then I'm actually going to start a couple inches up from the corner here on the left-hand side. I'm going to work my way downward. Getting heavier as I go. And then actually coming back up and then just kind of giving little sweeping strokes along the top edge line that I've worked in. And then I'm going to go ahead and get really heavy down here in this corner. And on this bottom edge. Alright, and now we're actually going to do a few up here. And we're going to build it out slightly. And then, actually going to go ahead and first I'm going to do this, these little kind of cross hatches. Then I'm going to grab a different brush. Actually going to get this one right here. This is a small flat brush. It's probably about half inch flat brush. And then I'm actually going to work my way up with this black in little tiny layers, mostly on the inside edge, the furthest edge of the left-hand side where this red line was. And we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of sweep back and forth, but just blot it along as I go. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to use kind of a back and forth sweeping of the tip and go back upward again. And I'm actually going to go outside of that red line. Just a little. Get some of this black, and I'm actually going to put it up in this left-hand corner here. And then work it slowly outward, but not all the way. And then pat it along over top of this purple and red and all of this wonderfulness that we have out here. Now, what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to start sweeping downward over top of this red line. I'm actually going to slowly, almost dry brush on a little black here over top of this portion, which is yellow, that we curved right along that edge. And then I'm actually going to use some sweeping strokes again up here with all these lines that are coming downward, and go back and do the blah, 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 blah. Grab a little more of the purple, and I'm going to go over top of that black with a blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to get some of this magenta, and I'm going to stroke that downward. And then we're going to get a little bit of this yellow that's remaining. I'm going to stroke that in there. A little more magenta. We're blah, 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 blah. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to blot along this edge here with some of this magenta, and then stroke it down, stroke it down, stroke it down. And then get some more of this black, and come over top, and we're going to blot where we were stroking down from the upper recesses, moving right to left. All right, so we actually have a lot going on here right now, and I actually want to take my brush and once more, I'm going to work my way down over this yellow. Blot up the top block, top block, top block, top block, top block, top. All right, and then work again these little strokes downward. All right. Okay, so we are ready for another color. We actually still have a lot of area in the center, which I haven't done much with. So I can either go ahead and wait for a suggestion from you, my wonderful viewers, or I can grab another random color and we can keep moving. This is a whole lot of fun, and I hope you're having fun too. Give it a couple of seconds. Oh, you'd love for me to teach you how to draw people sometime. We will consider that on a future show. All right. I hear orange. Orange, orange, orange. Find a good orange. All right. A wonderful orange here. This is just a really standard orange. What you'd expect to see on a road cone or on leaves in the fall. Very standard orange. With this particular orange, since I really like the idea of using it, I'm actually going to use this round sponge. We are going to go ahead and we're actually going to sponge this orange on. And when you sponge colors, what you really want to do is kind of get your coloration that you want to use. Get it. You can do it lots of ways. I'm using the edge of my sponge, but it's a dabbing procedure again. Now you can roll sponges, you can drag sponges, you can blot sponges. Since I like the idea of using orange in this, we are actually going to go ahead and I'm going to put a lot of orange on this. I find where I'm set. Orange, glad I didn't say red again. Well, yes. In this case, I'm also going to use a slightly different blotting procedure where I'm going to actually roll slightly upward with my orange because that's another thing you can do with a round sponge. So I'm actually going to come down here, come down to the bottom edge where I started with a lot of this paint, I am going to have to wash my hands really good when we're done. I'm going to blot really heavy along the edge of this yellow that's on the the left-hand side, excuse me. I'm going to blot upward into all of these swoops. But I'm going to use a combination of roll and blot. I don't know a good way to describe this, except for you're using a combination of rolling the edge of the round sponge while also blotting backward. And I actually think that this orange is going to fill our entire center area. That is my thinking, and that's what we're going to go with. We're going to use a lot of orange today. So glad you can all join me today. I hope you're having a good time. I'm going to continue blotting all the way up into these swoops that I've made from the top edge. Start from the bottom around where that magenta, black, and everything was put in, and fill in all of this white space that fills up the center of this piece right now. And when you roll and dab with a sponge like this, there's no wrong way to do it. So I just want you to remember that. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to do a little dab and push at this top edge. I really want to get this orange all over here. We accidentally picked up some of that black, but we're just going to let it happen. In fact, I like that so much, we're going to go ahead and we're going to see if we can't pick up a little bit more. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back and just roll this sponge. I'm pinching it between my middle finger and my thumb. And since it is a round sponge, I'm using it like a wheel and just pulling it across to continue soaking everything there. We have picked up some of the black, and I like it, so we're going to keep doing it. And then I'm actually going to go here and swoop down on that again, and then roll upward along this edge. I'm actually going to roll right up into the black and the purple and the magenta that are up at the top, and just kind of using sweeping, rolling maneuvers to get it worked up into there. Looks like a cave or monster's mouth. Looks like my stomach inside. Weeping willow in the wind. The devil's stomach. We have some really interesting thoughts here. Really interesting, and I'm enjoying hearing from you about everything this could be. Now that we have all that there, we can go ahead and we can add an additional color. We can do additional tones. It's currently we're currently 55 minutes into the show. I do have a lot of this painted right now, but we can still keep going. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to let this sit for just a moment, allow you a moment to think. Lavender fields, I'll be nice. No, don't worry. This is abstract art. Anything and everything you say is okay. And I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying this time. I can do additional colors. I can add additional things. We have a little bit of time left together, so let's just have some fun. So if you have a thought for a color that I should add now, or any thoughts at all, please feel free to say them. If not, in a few seconds I will grab a random color and we're going to keep going. Because even though this is a well-covered painting, lots of color, lots of stuff going on, I think we can do more. Thank you for all the emotes. I'm just waiting to see. Okay. We haven't had any other suggestions, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to grab a random color and we're going to add it in. Whatever I grab, that's what we use. Already used that one, and I don't want to use the same color twice. Yellow Oxide it is. It is a different yellow than what we used before, so this is what we're going to use to finish this guy off. Finish this painting off, excuse me. I apologize. I'm going to correct myself. So this is a yellow oxide. Now it has a warmth to it, but not as much of a brightness as you think. So for this one, I'm actually going to go ahead and I am going to use my number 2. Number 2 brush right there. We're going to get this in here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to work it down over here first on the left hand side. I'm going to work it slightly over top of some of this black and red. I don't want to get rid of the black and red, but I do want to add some other element to it. I'm going to just use this kind of zigzaggy pattern here and work my way down. And then I'm going to use these drawing strokes upward here in the corner, in the left-hand corner. Kind of drawing up and around in any way that we can. And work my way over into this black field of upward drawn strokes. Okay. Then we're actually going to go up here to our swoops, and we're going to swoop down from up here. And then I'm going to go ahead and blah, 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 blah. And I actually want to grab a different brush really quick. And I'm going to grab another one of these large round tip brushes. And I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to just start kind of popping that on top with these slapping, bloody kind of just. We don't want it to be like any solid thing, but we also are going to go ahead and we're going to slap that on there, right? Slap it on. Now that that's there, I'm actually going to take this exact same brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of this magenta that we were using earlier, this bright magenta, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over top of all that. And then I use really long sweeping strokes from up there downward and then blah blah blah. And I get more of this yellow, blah blah blah. Welcome to this fertile place of our imagination. All right. So we've done a lot here. Hard to say what we should do now. But what I'm actually going to be doing really quick is I'm going to take the round sponge again, and I'm going to take some more of this yellow. And I'm just going to roll it upward. Not attempting anything in particular other than giving us more field coverage here. But I'm going to be also rolling it downward from these swoops, going from left to right in semi-diagonals. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get up on top of that a little bit, right up on top of that upper edge. And I'm going to roll down from there, and then go back and blah, 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 blah. And a little bit of roll up and down there on that side edge. Now from here, there's something I want to do. Actually, once I find it, I actually want to add some more carbon black. And under the circumstances, let's see. I'm going to use another one of these round head brushes. Just going to get a little bit of carbon black on it. We're going to blot that up. We're going to be a bit aggressive with this. And then I'm going to come here and sweep upward again from the base of this left-hand corner. And then go ahead and get a little bit more on this edge here. And get a little bit of this yellow come in. All right. Tiny bit of this. I ended up putting a lot more on there than I wanted to, so I'm actually going to fix that really quick, but I want to go with it. Actually, I'm going to go with it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go with it. Because we didn't have a particular direction we were going, So I'm actually going to grab some of this magenta really quick. Do the same thing. And I'm going to grab whatever remains of this purple. All right. So, here we go. I'll leave it open whether or not we should do anything more or whether or not you think that this particular piece is done. I could definitely do some more to this, but I'm liking where it is. In fact, I'm liking where it is so much I'm going to add something to it anyway. What shall I? Let me use another kind of square end brush here. And then I'm actually going to take some of this remaining black and lather along here. And this is actually just the fun of art. You know, we didn't have to do anything in particular, but we did. Alright, and because I really like the way it looks, I'm going to take my sponge here. I'm going to just kind of muddle all of this with a partial roll. Grab a little bit of this black and the added sponge. Alright. Now I did end up with a lot of paint on my hand, but it's perfectly fine. Sitting at about 7:08. I don't know. Feeling pretty good about this. But if you want to give any suggestions, feel free. If you don't, thank you very much. If you don't have any suggestions, I think we might just call this one done. Or at least done in a moment. Thank you, by the way, for being here. As always, you are appreciated immensely. I do have a little idea. I like these little black specks in the air. Just add a few more. Interesting to say the least. But since we never have particular direction, when we start, we just go ahead and we create. And whatever is created, that is the art. This one's different, interesting. I like it. See if you can see that properly. Should be able to see that in our camera. A lot different than some of the other pieces we've done, but also it is the art of the day. Now, if you'd like to see anything more done with this, feel free. We do have a little time left together, and I'm more than happy to add more. But if you don't have any thoughts, I'm also more than happy to say that this is a pretty interesting thing we've done together. You don't feel it's finished? Okay. Give me a suggestion, give me a thought. Well, true. These things happen. As per usual, I am open to suggestion. I ended up with a lot more black on this than I intended to. Just giving your opinion. Your opinion matters. Your opinion matters. Never forget. This piece is different. See, here's the thing. Done is subjective. Or objective. Either way. Little green would fill in the yellow. Okay, there we go. There's a thought. Any other thoughts are more than welcome. Little green, fill in the yellow. All right. All right. Got a nice green here. Not that one. Get a different one. Same green, just preferably one that I've already opened. There we go. Just like showing support. Support is very important. Very important. And I appreciate it tremendously. Just like I appreciate the chance to create art together. Art should be fun. As I said. And that is one thing that we are here for. Fun. Oh, no worries. Completely understand. We can have some fun with this green too. We can add depth of field. So many things that you can do to change something instantly. And I do mean instantly. Because you're going to see how this can be transformed one vision to another. We already have a much different feeling now, don't we? Another way that we can have some fun here is we can actually come back in to these swoops up top. Get a little water and make an adjustment. Should we get a nice dark green here in a second? Light green after. Look how much different it is already. A sight to behold. For certain. All right. We might have to readjust the camera so that this can be properly seen. Okay. Let's see if that works. Nope, too close. tilt it back this way. Hopefully, we'll still have a really good view. Regardless of anything, still quite fun. I think we can make it slightly better. Just slightly. With actually the addition of a little bit more of yellow flame. We're going to soften this whole piece really quick. Again, okay, this is actually a size 14 square tip brush. Okay. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of this yellow flame and soften all of this really quick. Pull up here. Now, so we're going to get some fun here. A painting is not done until it is done. Probably seems a little bit obvious, but it's not. Change the entire world now. At least the entire world of this painting. It's our new landscape. Be it what it may. It's a bit bright at the moment. Hopefully it's enjoyable. Actually, I'm going to just take this fan brush one more time. Just at the bottom here. Various sweeping movements. Getting occasionally little bits of green back in. Much different piece now, isn't it? Because we're having some fun. Not that brush. I was going to use that brush. No. Look when you can. No problem. Take your time. Drive safe. Just using a slight rolling here to slowly get on this yellow, more of this yellow flag, or this flame yellow. All right. Glad you dig it. It's been a whole lot of fun making it. You know, not my best, not my worst. I can say that. But it was fun. A lot of fun. Just want to add a couple more things here. Just a little bit more. Walks. All right. Well, think this may be the end of it for now. We've gone potentially as far as we can go for this particular piece. It's been interesting. Learned a few things along the way. Played with some colors. Played with some ideas, too. We've added a lot of vibrancy to the final piece, which may be the final piece. You never know. You never know. But there is a lot more vibrancy now. There's a lot more color. There's a lot more depth. And there's a lot more intrigue. We actually have kind of a natural rim lighting here. Mossy oak and lavender fields. I like that idea. I like that. This is part of the fun. Ivy, Moston. Yes. So we have so much going on here, and actually what we've done also in this final stage is brightened the sky and added vibrancy to what must be the tree and the grass. We have a lot of different shades and tones and colors and a lot going on. We actually have ended up with what I think is a pretty realistic texturing, or at least a pretty decent texturing for the tree. Didn't know it was going to be a tree till it happened. That looks finished. So glad to hear it. I've had a lot of fun. We're going to go ahead. We're going to have this little drinky poo here. I have the horn. A little more to drink out of it. So glad you've been here. These are explorations into art, into abstract creation, into mutual creation, and I really enjoy the way this goes. Hopefully you do too. Now that we have a rough concept that there's a tree here, wonderful fields, lavender perhaps, we could sit underneath this tree, have a rest, relax, let it be. It's a good way to be. I hope you've had fun. I hope your weekend goes well. I hope your Saturday's been fantastic. Absolutely. Morning, perhaps. Most certainly. It could be the morning. It could be any time. It's up for you to decide. It's a landscape of the mind, brought forth by acrylic, painting, conversation. But that's the end of the horn, which also is going to be it's the end of your Saturday night with me, your Saturday night here, painting, having a good time. Listen, take care, be excellent, and continue being the awesomeness that is you. Till next time, I'll see you all again real soon. I must bid you farewell. Thank you for being here. Yes, this painting will be up for sale at some point in the near future. Thank you so much for all of the emotes, Silver Fox. Thank you, Finding Cherry, for being here. We have some other people in the audience who haven't spoken up. Thank you for being here also. And whether you're seeing this on the replay on Twitch, live right now, or later when it's loaded up on YouTube, thank you. And be excellent, my friends. I am out of here. Good night. Or good day. Or whatever time.